said what?
Don't say
I'm gonna try. Okay, we're good. All right, guys. So for my final speech, we were assigned to do a persuasive speech, and the topic I chose for this was replacing fossil fuels with cheaper alternative energy options or renewable energy should be mandated. This is not a stance I particularly take, but it's a topic that I chose that I can find a lot of research on. So, yeah. All right, so my thesis statement is that I believe we should replace fossil fuels with cheaper alternative energy options because we have a global dependence on oil, gas, and coal, which has negative consequences on our environment, and we should use more renewable resources that could be more sustainable for our future. Did you know that fossil fuel air pollution is responsible for the deaths of 1 in 5 people worldwide? This is according to Harvard University. More than 8 million people died in 2018 from fossil fuel pollution from various diseases, which I'll note later in the speech. It's like heart disease, lung disease, and like asthma, stuff like that. So pollution is a pretty harmful effect of fossil fuel production, which I'll get more into. And this is a global issue, not just in the United States, which many people think emissions and stuff are a huge problem here, which they are, but in reality, everybody needs to help out, you know what I'm saying? So while I was researching this topic, my eyes were opened up to the fact that how much we rely on, you know, oil, gas, and coal to live and power everything, you know? So some of you may or may not agree with my stance or this topic per se, but I just figured I'd bring more information into this for everybody. We're not here to disagree or agree, we're here to listen. Okay, so the main points I'm going to get to are, I'm going to discuss why fossil fuel dependence is an issue, how and what we can replace fossil fuels with, and the benefits of using renewable energy resources. Alright, so relying on fossil fuels for our main energy source is a problem because it causes many harmful effects on the environment. Fossil fuels cause local pollution where they are produced and used, and their ongoing use is causing lasting harm to the climate. In turn, the production of fossil fuels can be hazardous to public health and cause conditions like asthma, cancer, heart disease, things that I got into. Fossil fuels are simply a rock-like gas or resource that are burned to generate power. That gives like another definition of it. Coal, oil, gas, kerosene, and propane even. But the kerosene and propane are like less used. Like a lot of people use those to not rely on those three, but it's still a fossil fuel in itself. Let's see. So the two methods used to obtain fossil fuel is mining. That's one of the mining and drilling. Coal mining can cause serious health effects, especially to those people who are working underground and mine for the coal. I don't know if you've seen the movie October Sky, but that kind of shows like the stuff they go through. They're working underground, it's dark, it's bad conditions, causes lung disease, things like that. In fact, according to the Mine Health Safety and Health Administration, fatalities at the underground mine sites in the United States totaled 77 from 2010 to 2013, including a big explosion in West Virginia that killed 29 miners. It causes black lung disease, which the mortality of this disease is around 20% as of 2017. And some other side effects from the production of coal could be mine fires, surface runoff, unclean water, and also the land that we use for these facilities can be disturbed in the process, which in turn will create excess noise and destroy habitats for animals even. So now that we've talked about the problems and issues associated with the burning of fossil fuels, let's examine what we can replace them with. So yeah, getting air pollution. Okay. So in order to decrease our global dependence on fossil fuels as our energy source, we must look at the alternative options to use. Some examples of this could be geothermal energy, wind energy, solar power, and tidal energy. There are more, but these are a few I'd like to focus on. So current wind energy installations power roughly 20 million homes in the United States per year, and that number is growing. Excuse me. Wind can be used to generate mechanical power and electricity. You ever drive on the highway and you see all the big wind turbines. That's what we're talking about here. Geothermal energy is the heat or energy that rises from within the Earth's crust. It is a renewable energy resource because the production of the heat inside the Earth's crust is continuous, doesn't stop. And solar power is the light and energy that the sun produces. It can generate electricity and heat water as well. And this is renewable because the light from the sun is continuous. Unless the sun blows up and dies, we're gonna always have that. Solar power is, okay, I already said that. Finally, tidal energy is power taken from the ocean during the rise and fall, excuse me, during the rise and fall of the tides. It's less practical because of its limited accessibility and the cost. You know, if you live by the coast, you're probably more likely to use this than if you're someone that lived in the Midwest like we do. Whereas my Nana, she lives on the East Coast, so she'd be more likely to use this than say solar power or wind turbines. But it is still renewable because the tidal movements are continuous and they occur several times, or a couple times per day due to the moon's gravitational force. It doesn't produce pollution, and all of these options are pretty good options, in my opinion. It's just going to take more people to use them and more exposure to them. There's more benefits there. Okay. So now that we've talked about the different options we can turn to, let's talk about the overall benefits of using renewable energy. First off, we can limit our carbon dioxide emissions and greenhouse gases. In fact, in the United States, about 29% of global warming emissions come from our electricity sector, and these emissions come from fossil fuels like coal and gas. Increasing our supply of different renewable energy would make us less reliant on fossil fuels that produce carbon emissions. We can greatly improve public health and the overall quality of the air that we breathe. Clean energy technology does not produce nearly as much air and water pollution. And two examples of this would be wind power and solar energy. It can also create more jobs and benefit our economy overall. For example, if you chose to use solar energy, you would require a technician to come out and install that panel onto your house. And so that would create a job, right? And then you would have to pay him, so that would be flowing more money into the economy. If there was an increased need for renewable energy, it would create more jobs, which overall helps the economy. And it will help stabilize energy prices overall and make living more affordable in the long run, even though first off, that using these options may become more expensive right away. Using more renewable energy can lower the prices of and the demand for natural gas and coal by increasing competition and diversifying our energy supplies. So in conclusion, it is easy to commit to using renewable energy as opposed to using non-renewable energy because it has an array of benefits to the environment and overall public health. It is also excuse me, cost-effective and it is more efficient in its production. As a global population, we need to pull back on our dependence on using fossil fuels because the future of the Earth does depend on it. Not only does the production of fossil fuels harm our atmosphere, but it can disrupt the habitats of wildlife, and it can even cause air and water pollution. This is a controversial topic because switching to the renewable energy resource can be sometimes intermittent and difficult to obtain, but once once there's increased production of it across the globe and across the United States, you could see more people using it. For example, more people are choosing to use electric cars instead of gas-burning cars, because that's where we're headed with Tesla. So I hope you all agree with me that we should mandate the use of renewable energy, and because it has more benefits to the planet, even though it may take some time and effort to develop into our daily lives. Thank you.